Since opening its doors in 2003, the stage at the venerable music venue Holocene has been graced by the likes of Billie Eilish, SZA, 100 gecs, Snowstrippers, Goldie, The Eilers Set, and so many, many more. Holocene hosts everything from ambient acts, to rock bands, to techno DJs, and even a Charlie XCX dance night. Holocene's bar features beer, wine, cocktails, and mocktails, and a bevy of non-alcoholic beverage options. Holocene is centrally located at 1001 Southeast Morrison Street here in Portland, Oregon. You can also visit holocene.org, that's HOLOCENE.org, for a list of upcoming concerts and events. Come have fun, see and be seen, while celebrating Portland's vibrant music scene, all at Holocene.
One full hour of stereophonic music in a single tape.
Coming to you live after the fact, it's Afterglow Echoplex, an indie rock mixtape podcast. On this episode, we have music from Spirit Hotel, Moon Pilot, Cheerless, Soft Science, Cabin Full of Bears, and more. My name is Alice. I worked for the Umbrella Corporation, the largest and most powerful commercial entity in the world. I was head of security at a secret high-tech facility called The Hive, a giant underground laboratory developing experimental viral weaponry. There was an incident. A virus escaped. A lot of people died. The trouble was, they didn't stay dead. The concept of this podcast is simple. I made you, the listening audience, a 60-minute online playlist featuring contemporary underground indie rock bands of the shoegaze and shoegaze-adjacent varieties. But instead of simply reaching out to the 16 bands you'll hear on this episode and asking them each for permission to graciously feature their songs, I threw together an online playlist via a popular music-sharing website that makes musicians jump through hoops for mere pittance, if that, from the billions of dollars in profits this website rakes in monthly. It sucks, I know, but this site is just super convenient to use, and I'm about to hit the gym, so what are you gonna do, right? Okay, enough with the head games. April Fools, you fools. You know what the show's all about if you've listened this far. My voice sounds a little rough, and I do apologize for that. I just got over a bout of COVID, and it's left some mighty sexy phlegm in its wake. I'd like to think that I sound like a much nebbishier version of Mark Langan or Leonard Cohen or Stuart Staples, but honestly, who would I be fooling except myself, right? So again, apologies for the thisness of my voice, but, I'm recovering from a pandemic-y illness, and, this is what you get. All right, so who's in the mood for corrections? I must be, given the amount of mistakes I made in the last episode. This first one is a visual rather than auditory doozy. Despite the Los Angeles band Mo Dottie not having the letter E anywhere in their name, the cover artwork for last month's episode indeed features one. The band Alpaca Sports, well, their single Tomorrow I'll Be Fine was not self-released as I mentioned, but rather brought to us by the wonderful folks over at Shelf Life Records. And finally, during my interview with Tony Roberts, I refer to the Eclipse's Johnny and Tim Eads as the Eames brothers, as in the famed mid-century modern furniture makers, not Eades Eads, which is actually how you pronounce their names. So my sincere and embarrassed apologies all around. If the need arises, all wrong parties who feel the need to, pelt me with the full-flavored spectrum of Necco wafers, have at it. I completely understand. Hey, want to support the podcast? Everyone wants you to. In fact, it's all we talk about. Well, that and your upcoming surprise birthday party. Oops. Anyway, go to patreon.com/Afterglow Echoplex and chip in what you can to stay in our good graces. Or you can go to the podcast's hosting platform and subscribe for a mere $3 a month. No, it's true. I dare you. I double dog dare you. Now, let's get on with the show. Do you know what a pleasant odor that frequently accompanies the first rain after a long period of warm, dry weather is called? Yeah, I had absolutely no idea until the opening track on today's mixtape inspired my curiosity to find out. This is Cheerless with the song Petrichor. You are listening to the Afterglow Echoplex podcast.
dismiss it, and I don't understand just how. Sometimes I feel down, it often makes me anxious, frequently upset, and sometimes I feel nothing, sometimes I feel nothing. When they turn a blind eye to genocide, it's understandable to cry. I get so frustrated, waiting
Granddad died in the wars fighting the baddies. Gammon stole Poppy Day, hell happy with free. The church lost its voice and charities are corporate. It's on conspiracy, can't see the obvious.
The gig economy, dead social capital, cost centers by Satan, who make us do admin, pointless disservice until no one cares. Keep feeling hatred, our very atrophy.
They engineered arguments on social media, from Westminster troll farms with BBC Villa. Identity politics gave us apartheid. Coronavirus support, but now on the side. Won't you make a monster of me with your cultural obsession? No idea of beautiful. Well, it's cultural obsession. We can build society. Well, it's cultural obsession. Merciless TV shows with ideologue anchors who eat all the olives but burn all the branches. Society by PowerPoint from Sim and CBD. Pasteurized education, drink water free. Would you make a monster of me? Your cultural deception. Well, it's cultural deception. We can build society. Well, it's cultural deception.
If you're hearing the sound of my voice right now, chances are so are the listeners of this podcast. And if you're in the business of making things and selling them, these same listeners might be in the mood to purchase what you're selling. Hey, it's happened before. Advertising during an episode of the Afterglow Echoplex podcast might be the connection you, the maker of goods and services, are looking to make with the purchaser of those very same goods and services. Add to this, your advertising dollars are going towards supporting a podcast that champions and lends a platform to an amazing array of independent underground artists. Perhaps you already have an ad in the can, or you want me to read your copy in my melodious timbre. We can make that work. For advertising rates, please email afterglowechoplex@gmail.com with the subject line, "Advertising give you money, yes please and thank you," for more details. Help me help you help your business. All right, welcome back to the show. We just heard the song Remember by Washington, D.C.'s Shades of Violet from the 2023 self-released A Matter of Time single. So by the time you're hearing this, Shades of Violet's sophomore full-length album, Spirit Sense, will have just been released. Stop gabbing with me and go grab a copy of this album, toot sweet. Go on, get. Prior to that, we heard Her Time by the Amsterdam, Netherlands and Boulder, Colorado duo of Erica Terpstra and Albert Menduno, aka Moonpilot, from the 2025 self-released Her Time single. According to Erica, Albert purchased a second-hand vintage Tascam DP01 8-track recorder, which he brought as a gift for Erica in his backpack while visiting Amsterdam. This 8-track recorder was loaded with 25 drum tracks Albert had recorded in his home studio. Erica is currently transforming these drum tracks into songs like the one you just heard here, playing and singing all parts in the kitchen of her small Amsterdam apartment. Prior to that, we had Cultural Liposuction by Boston, England's Tiny Forehead from 2024's self-released Cultural Liposuction single. And then prior to that song, we had Spelling Your Name by Berlin, Germany's Fear Cone Children from the 2024 Aspirin Age Volume 4, a Shoegaze compilation on Broken Sound tapes. This song will appear on the forthcoming Fear Cone Children album Gear Shifting, out this spring on Blackjack Illuminist Records. Fear Cone Children's Alex Donat has been putting out an album a year since the birth of the first of his two daughters, resulting in not only an extensive discography, but a musical diary of sorts, where both of his daughters' views of the world throughout the years are often the subjects of his songs. And that's pretty amazing. Yeah, I love that. From parts in and around the Bay Area of Northern California and featuring former members of the Brian Jonestown Massacre, the Jesus and Mary Chain, and Elastica, we heard the song This Love Is Gonna Tear Us Apart by the Stalwart Lovers from the 2024 self-released This Love Is Gonna Tear Us Apart single. Jack Rabbit over at The Big Takeover put the song on his Top 100 Songs of 2024 list. At the time, the song wasn't even officially released yet, thus proving that Jack's impeccable taste in music can see well into the future. Listen for the new Stalwart Lovers album coming very soon to ears near you. Prior to that, we heard Sometimes I Feel Nothing by Santa Fe and Albuquerque, New Mexico, and Boston, Massachusetts, The Specific Heats, from their upcoming third full-length album, which should be out either late this year or early next year on Summerman Records. What you just heard is a song premiere exclusive to the very podcast you're listening to right now, so you cannot hear this song anywhere else except right here on the podcast, which I just explained, and now I'm being redundant. Anyway, after a lengthy hiatus, The Specific Heats released a new EP at the end of 2024 and have a lot of new material in the works, so be on the lookout for that. And then we opened up the first side of this mixtape with the song Petrichor by Hackney, London, England's Cheerless, from the 2024 self-released Cheerless EP. Now, if you're in London, look these fellas up. They play in and around town quite often. If this song is any indication, you are in for one hell of a great show. So find them, go see them, tell them I sent you. Okay, up next on the second side of today's mixtape, we have a phenomenal band that proves the age-old adage that I just made up right now on the spot. Don't sleep on Sacramento. This is Soft Science with Stuck. You are listening to the Afterglow Echoplex podcast.
farther and farther, preserved for something less than eternity. And all the signs point to Texas, coming off the interstate, cross together over the valley. Oh, let me go my way. All my thoughts are repetitive and useless, and my body is a shallow grave. My body is a shallow grave. And the pearls of Beaumont felt like dripping stars, and turned the Bible belt and whipping cords, and we'll destroy Dallas one strip mall at a time. Instead of Palm Jack side by side, and all the signs point to Texas, coming off the interstate, cross together over the valley. Oh, let me go my way. All my thoughts are repetitive and useless, and my body talk about liberation? What is it when you claim in the name of the nation? What is it when you smile with that poison in your eyes? What is it when the devil steals your joy? Yeah, what is it when the devil steals your joy? Yeah, kills you young, chill up with oil, brings that meat into the toil. Turn it up the boil on the pot that you are in. 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 Where were you that disintegration? As I was born in my first rotation.
goddamn killer. Let's ride with the top down. Shoot stars till they fall down. Desert pit, fill my lungs. Canyon of dreams, fill my guts. Don't look at me in the sun, because I can't breathe. Red hot dust, red hot dust. The devil is in a dark place. He's lost all self-control. I've won, but I've lost the whole race, and I'm gonna hit the road. Desert pig, fill my lungs. Canyon of dreams, fill my guts. Don't look at me innocent, because I can't breathe. Red hot dust, red hot dust.
Super Electric Records isn't just any old Portland record shop. Besides specializing in new and used post-punk, electronic, psych, and jazz records, Super Electric, much like Voltron or a combiner from the Transformers, is one piece of a cultural hub that also includes Lost Avenue Books,
The Beacon Sound record label.
Musique Plastique, and more. Located at 2732 Northeast MLK Boulevard and open Tuesday through Sunday from noon to 6 p.m., this super spot is so mighty it doesn't need outdoor signage. Just Mondays off to recharge the pure awesomeness one storefront can contain. Oh, and have I mentioned the incredibly nice crew that calls this space home? Actually, I think I just did. You'll see when you get there. Super Electric Records, one part of your one-stop shop for records, books, zines, stickers, pins, and more.
All right, welcome back to the show, and we just heard the song Red Hot Dust by Los Angeles, California's Mirrorball from the 2023 self-released Red Hot Dust single. This song will eventually be part of an EP produced by Chris Cody, the mastermind behind the boards for albums by Beach House, Dive, and the Yeah Yeah Yeahs. Prior to that, we heard the song Losing Touch, also from Los Angeles, California, by the Diffident Daffodils, from the 2024 Losing Touch / Go Away Now single on the DKFM imprint DK Discs. This is the third single from the 2024 album Indifference. Prior to that, we heard the song The Devil Steals Your Joy, The Pot, by Austin, Texas, Timmy Vigilante, from the 2024 self-released album You Know What You Did. According to the highly prolific Timmy Vigilante, who is non-binary and uses they-them pronouns, though she is also fine, the title of this album is an emotionally fraught and darkly comic journey through some of the many adversities they've encountered. According to Timmy, in general the lyrics respond to transphobia from someone I know who said more or less the exact same thing that became the title. Timmy, that really sucks. I'm so sorry. I don't have words for this, but, the dearly departed David Lynch does, and, to all of those foul friends out there who want people to be the thing that they are not.
Fix your hearts or die.
And then prior to that, we heard Who Would Have Thought by Yes Palante, Michigan's The Rabbit Sons from the 2025 compilation album Special, a Rabbit Sons anthology on Claptrap Records, according to Michael Cuz, who podcast devotees may remember from his appearance as Cuz Beats on episode number 5. This song had 4 completely finished versions before it settled on the album version. The vocals and lyrics were written and recorded 2 days before the album was released. It was a burst of inspiration that I think thematically tied the whole album together, Michael notes. There's something to be said for deadlines. And Michael, I hope you don't mind me reenacting you, but I tried, I'm not an actor, but yeah. Prior to that, we had the song Moon Eyes by Salem, Massachusetts, Spirit Hotel from the 2024 self-released Moon Eyes single from the band's forthcoming debut album, which should be out at the end of this year or early next year. The fine folks at Little Cloud Records from right here in Portland, Oregon, will be releasing this album on vinyl. If you're in or around Salem, Massachusetts in the next several months, Spirit Hotel will be playing live on May 27th at the Midway Cafe in Jamaica Plain, Saturday, June 14th at the Jungle in Somerville, and Friday, July 18th at Kodo Underground in Salem, with more shows throughout the Northeast coming this summer and fall. So definitely go check them out. Prior to that, we had the song Krung Thep by our friends in the North in Ottawa, Toronto, Canada's Skytone from their 2024 Krung Thep single on the Beautiful Music record label. According to the band, this song is an ode to Bangkok, Thailand. Krung Thep is actually the Thai name for the city. What we Westerners refer to as Bangkok is officially known in Thai as Krung Thep Maha Nakhon. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. And often referred to simply as Krung Thep, the capital and most populous city in Thailand. And one of the most beautiful cities in the world, as a quick Google image search will quickly reveal. Prior to that, we had Slip a While by Brookville, Pennsylvania's Cabin Full of Bears from their 2024 self-released Low Frequency Anxiety EP. Cabin Full of Bears are currently working on a full-length album with a release date set for sometime this year, as well as a handful of shows in the works. So if you're in Pennsylvania or parts thereabout, I highly recommend going and checking them out. Tell them I sent you. Tell all these bands if you go to see them live that I sent you. And they'll be like, who? What? Oh, yeah, right, him. Okay. Spindletop by more of our friends to the north by way of Sudbury and Toronto, Ontario, Canada's Casper Skulls preceded that from their 2025 album Kit Kat on Next Door Records. Make sure to mark your calendars because Kit Kat is out a mere 10 days from now on April 11th. And then we opened up the second side of today's mixtape with the song Stuck by Sacramento, California's Soft Science from their 2023 album Lines on Shelf Life Records here in the States, Spin Out Nuggets in the UK, and Fast Cut Records in Japan. Soft Science are currently recording their next LP this summer and hope to have it out early next year, and seriously can't wait because this is a great band. Like I said, don't sleep on Sacramento. They have a number of great shoegaze and shoegaze adjacent bands. I'm surprised somebody hasn't put out a compilation. Or maybe they have and I haven't investigated. Well, I guess that's on me then. But if somebody hasn't, maybe somebody should. I'm just saying. All right, let's go to the copy. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Afterglow Echoplex podcast. This podcast would not be possible without the contributions of the absolutely wonderful and talented bands featured on today's episode. I highly encourage you to check out each of these bands by going to their websites and BandCamp pages. Please see show notes for info and links. Buy an album in the format of your choosing. If any of these bands or musicians are touring and coming to your town, go see them. After the show, change out of your sweaty clothes, steal a car, move to a new city, and assume a new identity. You know, just for the heck of it. Afterglow Echoplex is produced, compiled, and recorded by me, Anthony King. Today's episode was produced in direct collaboration with the bands featured here. Intro and outro songs by Lilies. Thanks, Kurt! Cover art photographs by Blue Calypso Photographs. Afterglow Echoplex is a Rocket Science Alliance production. Now, if you're in a band that makes music similar to what you heard here today and want it considered for an upcoming episode of the Afterglow Echoplex, by all means, please send a WAV file of your song to afterglowechoplex@gmail.com. Please make sure to include your contact info and band's links. If you would like to write into the podcast with listener correspondence, please send your letters to afterglowechoplex@gmail.com. And if you liked what you heard here today, please rate, review, subscribe, and turn on notifications for the show on the podcast catcher of your choice. Or go out for a walk, grab a beer, and or a burrito to go with it, and simply leave your phone at home. be in the moment without that thing for an hour or more and readjust those screen-crossed eyes. Seriously, why are we so tethered to these little things? Oh, sorry, apologies. Thank you again for listening to today's show. Coming up on the next episode of the Afterglow Echoplex podcast, in honor of Grace Jones' iconic baddie from the classic James Bond film, A View to a Kill, we have Mayday butterfly kisses from the likes of Emperor of Ice Cream, Glasswing Butterfly, The Skating Party, Echo of the Lowlight, Barahari, and many more. Until next time, keep celebrating the scene.